Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to take a detailed look at the people and society of Zimbabwe so that you can know everything that you need to know. So let's begin. Zimbabwe has a population of approximately 16.7 million as of November 2017. It is ranked as the 70th most populous country in the world. Zimbabwe's population is equivalent to 0.22% of the total world's population according to the UN. The population density in Zimbabwe is 43 people per square kilometer. Aside from major urban centers in Harare and Bulawayo, population distribution is fairly even, with slightly greater overall numbers in the eastern half of the country. The citizens of Zimbabwe are called Zimbabwean, or Zimbabweans for plural. The total population in Zimbabwe are mainly related to two Bantu-speaking groups, the Shona, who comprise about 82% of the population, and the Ndebele, who are about 14% of the population. These two major ethnic groups are then further subdivided into numerous subgroups, such as the Karanga, Korekore, Manyika, Ndao, Rozwi, Zezuru, and the Kalanga. Other indigenous ethnic groups, such as the Shangani, Swana, Venda, the Shona, make up 2% of the population. People of European origin, mainly of British origin, make up 2% of the population, along with a number of Asians, mainly Indians and Chinese, who do business in the major urban centers, and numerous mixed-race people. Zimbabwe has 16 official languages as of 2017. This feat has made Zimbabwe the country with the most official languages in the world. Shona being the most widely spoken by approximately 80% of the population, Ndebele being the second most widely spoken by approximately 15% of the population, and English, which is traditionally used for official business, is spoken mainly in the cities and urbanized areas. But a majority of the population can speak English, as it is the language of instruction in most, if not all, schools. The remaining 13 are languages spoken by the minority groups, such as Chewa, Chibarwe, Kalanga, Khoisan, Nambaya, Ndao, Sotho, Swana, Venda, and Shona. A majority of the population are Christian, a result of the colonial past. Protestants make up 82% of the population, while Roman Catholics make up 6.7%. Other Christians make up 4.6%. Traditional religions make up 0.6%, while Muslims 0.4%. Hindu and Baha'i make up approximately 0.3%, and 4.6% adhere to no faith. Like most African countries, most religious practitioners mix their traditional beliefs with their faith. For example, the tradition of slaughtering a bull or ram during weddings and funerals is followed by a majority, if not all, Zimbabweans, whether they are Catholic, Protestants, or Muslim. The native ethnic groups of Zimbabwe may look similar at a glance, of which they are, but they also have their differences, which can be seen in their art, beliefs, ceremonies, clothing, and social structure. This makes them unique, not only to each other, but to the world. The Shona people have developed a unique stone sculpting techniques. This has enabled them to produce some of the best art sculptures on the continent. Many of these sculptures have been sold for huge sums in galleries around the world. Each of the different cultures has their own perception of beauty, which they incorporate in their traditional dressing. From the Kalanga's love for beads, to the Korekore's love for copper and brass rings that are worn around their neck, arms, and legs, to the colorful clothing of the Shona, to the Ndebele's love for animal skins. In modern Zimbabwe, the different tribes have adopted the best of all tribes, and have come up with a colorful national dress that consists of a wraparound and headdress for women, and a breastplate made of animal skin for men. The different tribes have also come together in culinary terms, which was not so different to begin with, to make traditional meals which can resonate with all Zimbabweans. Sadaza, which is made from mixing cornmeal and water into a thick paste, is the country's most popular meal, and it goes well with leafy vegetables, beans, meat, and fish. Another popular meal is dovi, which is a stew made of peanuts and copious amounts of onions, pepper, carrots, and garlic to balance out the flavor of the peanut sauce. When available, one can also add chicken to it, and enjoy it with the popular sadza or rice. Another staple is bota, which is a porridge eaten by most Zimbabweans. It is made of cornmeal and flavored with peanut butter and milk. It is often eaten for breakfast to power people through the day. Zimbabwe is a young nation, with approximately 38.9% of the population below the age of 15, while 4.46% of the population are above the age of 65. With the majority of the people below the minimum working age, Zimbabwe has a high dependency ratio, meaning that there are many dependents relying on too few providers who already have limited resources. The current living wage for a family is $465 a month, which may hinder the ability of the country and its people to improve the living standards of every citizen. The total dependency ratio is 79.5, and the potential support ratio is 19.7. The median age in Zimbabwe is 19 years old. While many Western and Asian countries are fighting a battle against an aging population, Zimbabwe and most, if not all, African countries are fighting a battle of a booming young population and not enough jobs for each and every one of them. In the 1990s and 2000s, a booming population, along with economic mismanagement, hyperinflation, unemployment, and few opportunities for career growth, sparked a wave of immigration that has pushed highly skilled workers to go abroad, primarily to other Southern African countries, which host an estimated 1 to 5 million people who are either born in Zimbabwe or born to Zimbabwean parents. More than 80% of them are in South Africa. The UK is another preferred destination, which has approximately 100,000 people who identify with the country, and the US has approximately 100,000 as well. Australia and Canada also have sizable Zimbabwean communities. The Zimbabwean diaspora have become the second largest source of foreign exchange for the country. To find out how much money was sent to the country in 2017, watch my video on the Zimbabwean economy. The Zimbabwean diaspora has a 95% literacy rate in English and a very highly educated adult population. This has created a variety of challenges, including brain drain and illegal migration. Zimbabwe's fertility rate, although high, has remained fairly stable at about 4 children per woman for the last 2 decades. Since 2015, the fertility rate has further dropped to 3.8 children per woman. In 1966, the fertility rate was 7.66 children per woman. Increases in educational attainment, particularly among girls, and exposure to social media has contributed to the reduction in the birth rate. Zimbabwe's current population growth rate is 2.1% according to the UN, which the government still deems as way too high. Chief among the government's concerns is whether the cramping economy can support the growing population. A mother's mean age at first birth in Zimbabwe is 21 years of age. The country is predominantly rural, with 32% of the population living in an urban setting. The rate of urbanization since 2010 has been 2.55% per annum. Harare, the capital, was founded in 1890 and currently has a population of 1.8 million. It is the largest and most developed city in the country and the go-to place for any business and economic activity in Zimbabwe. The only other city with a population of more than 1 million is Bulawayo City, which is home to 1.2 million residents. For a long time, Bulawayo has been regarded as the industrial center of Zimbabwe because of the huge number of factories in the area. The majority of Bulawayo's population belong to the Ndebele ethnic and language group. The third largest city, which is also the fastest growing, is Chitungwizwa. It has a population of 365,000 and is located in the traditional territory of the Hera people. Its most distinguished historical figure is the pre-colonial civic hero or spirit medium of Chaminuka. He is remembered for predicting the colonization of the country by the British, which is pretty impressive. When one is born in Zimbabwe, one can expect to live until the age of 58.3 years old if you are male and 62.5 if you are female. The country's high number of people living with HIV and AIDS contributes to an overall lower life expectancy, high infant mortality, and higher death rates. Zimbabwe is actually 6th in the world when it comes to the percentage of population living with the virus. According to the CIA Factbook, approximately 13.5% of the population are living with the virus. This number is high, but it is also a huge drop from the 29% living with the virus in 1997. The proliferation of HIV and AIDS information and the prevention programs, as well as personal experience with those suffering or dying from the disease, have helped change the people's sexual behavior and reduce the epidemic. As a whole, it is estimated that approximately 2.1 billion people are infected with the virus, which contributed to 30,000 deaths in 2016. Government health expenditure in Zimbabwe amount to 6.4% of the GDP as of 2017. 65% of healthcare services were provided by the public sector. According to the World Health Organization, in the public sector, there are 1.6 trained physicians and 7.6 nurses for every 10,000 people in the country. A lot of the country's doctors and nurses leave the country to seek greener pastures when they acquire enough experience. 15.6% of the adult population are considered to be obese, while 11.3% of the children are considered to be underweight. As of 2017, approximately 97% of the urban population have access to improved drinking water sources, while 67.3% of the rural population have access to improved drinking water sources, and approximately 49.3% of the urban population have access to improved sanitation facilities, while 30.8% of the rural population have access to improved sanitation facilities. Government educational expenditures in Zimbabwe amount to 8.4% of the GDP as of 2017. 88.5% of males are able to read and write, while 84.5% of females are able to do the same. Zimbabwe has some of the highest literacy rates in Africa, as well as some of the best trained and skilled population on the continent. Training its people has not been Zimbabwe's main problem. Retaining the trained people is. Zimbabweans are expected to go through 10 years of education, primary to tertiary. This brings us to the end of this video on the Zimbabwean people and society. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Watch my video on the Zimbabwean economy to find out how much a highly trained individual or family earns versus how much a low-wage individual or family earns. And check out my video on the government and military to learn how the people and economy are government and how powerful the military is. Or watch my other videos on other countries to learn about them. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. This was a Third World Report by me, Brian. Be sure to like and subscribe to receive more in-depth and detailed videos on country histories and country profiles. Thank you for watching, and Kwaheri.